Paddington. Yeah, I finally get to talk about these movies. I actually want to review the Paddington movies before Wonka because, Paul King, he directed Wonka. And I actually decided against it just because was already reviewing so much in December last year. And, well, I guess 2 years ago now. Well, we're in 2025, guys. But yeah, so I finally get to review them because the next Paddington movie's coming out. So let's talk about them. I think Paddington is such a weird movie for a couple reasons. I think when people talk about Paddington, they talk about how surprisingly good it is. But I think it's kind of funny when people say it's surprisingly good in the sense that what they're referencing is the American type films like Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Smurfs that are taking these properties and making them very Americanized and dumbed down for modern American audiences while disrespecting the original properties. But those are American films, most of those being on American properties, except for the Smurfs, which is from, I think, Belgium. But, like, a lot of that stuff is American properties that they're taking. This is a British film based on a British property, so it's kind of no wonder that they would respect the property a little bit more. Paddington is very beloved in Britain. I mean, these films release in Britain before they release here. This film is already released in the Paddington 3 is already released in the UK. We don't get it here in the States until February. Doesn't make any sense, but it is the way it is. So I'm just saying Paddington is kind of one of those unique things that people, I think, kind of talk about in that odd sense. But this is a surprisingly good movie, I guess, here in the States. I think most of us didn't expect a movie like this to be as good as it is. I think this film has a lot of really charming layers to this film, where this first movie is really is clearly a metaphor for immigration, war-torn families and kind of what that feels like. I mean, Paddington basically is one of those in a weird way. This family adopts him, and it's about his impact on the community and what that means and things like that. You see that throughout both of these films, but here especially you see some of that, and it's really sweet. And it's just got a lot of great British humor, great British actors. It's got a lot of charm to it, and I think what I enjoy most about this one is, of course, Nicole Kidman as our villain. She's great, but I also just think this is a really well done film. With that, I think it's just charming enough. It works for what it's trying to do. It has its own unique style too. Paul King has a very Wes Anderson type style to this film without feeling straight up derivative of Wes Anderson for the most part. There's a couple moments where it feels a little like, oh yeah, you're kind of doing the Wes Anderson thing, but for the most part he is clearly given it his own style and continued to after this film. It is just truly a wonderful movie with a lot of heart and a lot of emotions to it. Kind of reminds me of American Tail in a lot of ways, where while that is a kids movie, there's clearly some deeper subtext of immigration and what that looks like and that process. But of course that's more of an American thing, obviously, but this is more of a immigration on the UK and things like that, kind of what that looked like. It's a very wonderful movie that I'd recommend to anybody, and it's just really charming.